Rashik quote-unquote buffs me with haste. Okay, dude. Oh god. Can't even play fantasy without steroids. Hey, what's up everybody? Totally normal SkyDieRay here, not at all being controlled by an illithid. How are you guys doing? Welcome to another DnDGreentext video. Before jumping into the video, I want to wish you a happy new year if you haven't seen the, memes video or if it wasn't new year at the time. Anyway, yeah, happy new year. How are you guys doing? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before jumping into the video, I also want to kindly ask you if you want to smash the like button. It helps me out and I appreciate it a lot. So thank you so much for taking a moment to do that. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Of Wei and Fei, bodybuilders in the summer court. Good story to start the first green text of the year with, because people usually have new year resolutions to start working out. Anyway, in this thread, good old-fashioned post one-shots. Bias, world-renowned athletes from material plane. Binatmi, Tan the Shieldheart, dwarven fighter and veritable living brick whose indestructible gut is rumored to stop cannonballs. A talent passed down and refined over many generations of proud warriors. Binatmi, Rashik 12-pack El Zaidi, human cleric of the god Fitcrossius, blessed thereby, or perhaps just randomly mutated, to have 6 pairs of abs and dedicated master of the high art of posing and flexing. Bimi, Melvin Gilgamustache Beardclass III, spell sword and dwarven tri-state area gold medalist in beard curls. Although it sadly never came up in session, Melvin was a fraud. His natural strength was modest, but no one ever questioned his lifting belt, which was secretly a belt of giant strength. The Muscle Boys are invited to the Interplanar Bodybuilding Talent Show in the Feywild. Arrive a few days early and hit the gym in the meantime. Clerk at the front desk. You guys must be the team from the material plane, right? Me. Actually, we are from the elemental plane of girth. Me and the other dwarf bro laugh and flex. Enter the gym. Among the extraplanar weirdos, there's a mind flayer doing tentacle curls. The mind flayer starts telepathically talking smack to Rashik. Rashik, serene as the Buddha, casually deflects the petty and unsportsmanlike insults. Shieldheart solicits some space elves to absolutely wallop on his stomach. Despite being impressive unarmed combatants, the space elves barely dent his grotesque health pool. Melvin's turn next. Go to practice beard clean and jerk. The mind flayer starts talking and saying that I'm doomed to fail. I don't lift because it's easy. I lift because it's hard. That's the point. Yeah, I grab the bar with my beard, braided into the shape of an arm complete with a fist, and lift. I roll a 9, total, after a +8 modifier. The bar tips over and sends plates clattering to the ground. I run out of the gym with my beard tucked between my legs. I can never show my face in this town again, well, after the contest of course. Next day, it's time for the sign-in. Enter the stadium and a satyr in a safety net vest with a clipboard is waiting for us. Satyr, may I take your names? Us. Of course. We give him our names. Alright, go down that way and around the corner. We proceed as directed, see a desk, and there's a clerk that asks us our names. Hold on, I can't seem to remember. What? What do you mean? Clerk, you don't know your own names? We just gave them to that satyr over there. Clerk, what satyr? Wait, you gave your names to some random guy. You know this is the Feywild, right? But he looks so official. He had a clipboard and a vest. Yeah, the mother stole our names. Can't have the Feywild. We have to hunt down the satyr, but he tells us that it's too late and he's already sold our names off to a hag coven. A puzzle and the monster beat down later, we find the hag coven. Having been somewhat depleted by the prior battle, the Shieldheart even had to eat his bar of power to recover his strength. We try to negotiate instead of fighting. Party members, to my horror, jump straight to soliciting a good old-fashioned cheek beating to the hags. Thankfully, the offer is declined, but now combat starts. We see that the hags are making name soup in their cauldron. We know what we must do. Shieldheart covers me. Rashik quote-unquote buffs me with haste. Okay, dude. Oh god. Can't even play fantasy without steroids. I douse myself in a silvered protein powder shake and cast protection from evil. Baywatch run, shirtless and all, over the cauldron and tip it over, interrupting the ritual. After a grueling slugfest with the hags, including Rashik going down and needing to be resuscitated with a bottle of Greaterade, okay, we are victorious and reclaim our names. We head back to the stadium where the contest begins. Up first is Shieldheart, who recites a spoken word poem of his family history while beating his stomach like a drum. Apparently, the judges are moved by the unconventional display of athleticism. The Shield gets a respectable 51 points across 3 skill checks with no special bonuses. Rashik, on his turn, performs a Tai Chi-like flexing routine with candles for added sensuality. Using magic and divinity to enhance his ability checks racks up an impressive 65 points. But this is, ultimately, a story of the triumph of the Short Kings. It's Melvin's turn. It's time to prove that damn squid from the gym wrong. I cast a fog cloud and dancing lights over the stage, and the bonus to performance check for my entrance. As the mist clear, Melvin grabs hold of an immense barbell with his beard. Cast Earth Tremor to play up the tremendous difficulty of the task, with a bonus to intimidation check. But now, I have to actually lift the damn thing. I have no arcane tools to help me now. I roll straight athletics for the clean and jerk. A middling roll, but high enough to hoist my quarry high in the air, and nail the dismount. All this for a total of, and I do not, no embellishments, 69 points, and take home the gold. Reporters gather round to congratulate me on my victory. Mr. Gilgamesh, can I take your picture? Anticlimactic, fastest no of my life. End the session. Oh, never mind, it's a no because they're in the Feywild. Yeah, I would have gotten tricked. I would have gotten tricked again. God damn the Feywild, man. God damn, this was glorious. Also, this makes me a bit more excited than I already was to get back in the gym, because they were closed from Christmas until today, basically, at the point you're watching this. I don't know, maybe I missed the endorphins. Anyway, moving on to the next story. That time that my player tried to punch God. D&D 5th edition game. Me as the forever DM. Campaign has been going for almost a year. Players are trying to defeat an evil entity that wants to take over. Everyone is almost dead making savings for their lives. The monk gnome level 15 begins a speech. Gods are so strong like this. Mortals are so small compared to them. We the best that we can to survive. What? The god attacks him with power word death. Thanks to Diamond Soul, he survives. God gets really impressed. And even I was. Is it the duty of mortals question the actions of gods? Is it your duty to guard humanity or any other race? Now, die. I have places to be. God attacks, but one of the party members takes its wrist using a whip and tries to hold it, so he cannot hit the monk. The monk continues while preparing buffs. You have no right to be a god. Gods should be kind with the mortals who spend their lives trying to serve them. But if these are gods, the monk starts a barrage of attacks. So I don't need any god. He began to use all of his keys to try to hit God as many times as possible. In 5 dices, 3 were natural 20s. I began to describe how the armor of the Dark God began to crack and how he was surprised of this action, and armor shards began to fall on the floor. The party members who were then alive received a bonus from the action of the monk. Cause goddamn it was epic. They buffed the monk as much as they could so that the monk could give the final punch. He punched God on the face. Not in the face, on the face. After that, they destroyed the avatar of that god with pure determination. I made this monk a permanent legend that will always exist in the myths of my table. Jesus, that was an epic story. With, with all the strokes that I had trying to read it included. Even with those, it was pretty epic. My players spent 2 hours in the first room of my dungeon. Yes, as the title suggests, my players did indeed spend 2 hours in a single room of my dungeon during our last session. Before I get into why they spent 2 hours in this room, let me start by saying that this room was empty. There was no puzzle to solve, no items to find, no enemies to fight, and there was not 1 but 2 obvious exits from the room. That also doesn't include the entrance that they had come in through. So you may be wondering why? Why did they take so long to move past this room? Well, this was a combination of several factors. Kind of a lesson to be learned for the future about what you put in front of your players and when you do so. Firstly, I should point out that while this was technically the first room, it was also the first room of the second floor of a larger dungeon. A wizard's tower which the party had spent all of last session fighting their way through to get to that point, and had just defeated the boss when we left off. So they were actually sitting in the boss room from the previous session. A puppet-like construct boss which was particularly nasty, with having 4 arms, 4 weapons and 2 faces, each with their own initiative. So the party was hurting on hit points and had blown a fair amount of their spell slots. Given the situation, they decided to have a short rest to heal up a bit, which was just fine, nothing I didn't expect there. The rest also gave them time to switch out their party members, since one of them was a centaur paladin that we didn't have last time that was with them now, while another one that we did have last session, an elf ranger, was not playing that day. So I simply used that rest time to say that the ranger ran back the way they came and pointed the paladin in the right direction to catch up to the party. This is where I made a mistake. You see, the party had come across a magical artifact in the lower floor of the tower, a very movable rod. Those who are well versed in D&D will know that an unmovable rod is a very popular and powerful item that looks kind of like a cane with a horse head on the end and a single button. Pressing the button will cause the rod to become magically transfixed in place, effectively becoming unmovable unless you can either beat a DC 30 strength check or apply upwards of 8,000 pounds of force on the rod. That's 3,600 in kilograms. This item wasn't that, however. This was a very movable rod. For some context, the person who controlled the tower that the party was in was a 200-plus-year-old artificer with a habit of making silly or downright crazy contraptions. The very movable rod was one such contraction, and basically what they did is they just took an unmovable rod and made it do the opposite of what it usually does. So instead of not being able to move, it becomes unable to stop moving if it's turned on, and then any force is applied on it at all. The players didn't know this, and obviously they're going to want to try out their new magical item now that they have a moment of peace to do so. However, the ranger was actually the person to have the rod, and they weren't going to be there. Feeling generous, I decided to say that the ranger passed off the rod to the paladin as they passed each other. That way, they could test out the item. That was my second mistake, since, of course, the paladin decided to try and use the rod right away. First, tying themselves to a support beam and then pressing the button. Nothing happened at first, of course, but the second they moved their hand at all, the rod just went. I gave them the chance to make a strength check to keep it from slipping out of their grip, which they made, and a dexterity save to try and turn it back off, which they failed. Since the rod couldn't be turned off, it just continued to pick up speed, smashing through the wall of the room, and then another, and another, and another, until it was completely out of sight. Then, one of the players posed the question of what is going to happen if it keeps picking up speed, fearing that it might destroy the whole rail. Obviously, I'm not that mean, so instead, I just have it become so fast that it loses its physical form and rips a hole in the fabric of reality right in the middle of the room where the players are. Yes, it created a wormhole. Of course, I mainly did it as a joke, but the players couldn't just leave a wormhole undealt with. So, they started communing with their gods to find a way to close it before it could widen and destroy the rail. I had one of their gods give them a way to contain or stabilize it so that it wouldn't become any larger. However, once they knew it was safe to be around, they started jamming things in it to see what would happen. So, then, I had to decide what would happen. It started with a rock, so I just said a different rock popped out, because I decided it was connected to alternate realities. The players picked up on this and began to experiment more. One jumped a magic sword through it and tossed out a magic bow since our ranger was new and still needed magic equipment. Our warforged cleric fighter didn't like the short bow that I gave him though, so he kept shoving it until I gave him a longbow. Then, the paladin decided that he wanted to explore the other side. So I had to send an alternate version of himself to the other side as Doornail to dissuade him from doing that. Then they started shoving things from the enemy characters that they had killed into the hole, and alternate versions of those characters popped out, alive this time, and less evil. So then I had to have those NPCs explain what their version of reality was, like in case they had any useful information that the players could use, which I had to come up with on the fly. Overall, the session was all that I assume wasn't. The session wasn't all that bad, and the players liked having the extra NPCs to help them in combat, but this is why the players can't always have nice things. Well, I mean, you can't expect to give the players a wormhole and have them just ignore it, like, honestly, what was the expectation there? Anyway, another great story, another couple of strokes to end the video on. Yeah, with that being said, that's gonna be it for this video, so thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more if you haven't already. Also, thank you to everyone supporting the channel on Patreon, I really appreciate it, so thank you so much for the support given there. Links below if you wanna check it out, as well as links to social media, Discord, subreddit, and anything else. And yeah, that's it, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day, bye!